If you really want to fish but can't get out from behind your desk or out of the house, we have a solution for you. And speaking of bringing the outdoors indoors, we have an art exhibit at a college in Conway that showcases the natural state's love of fishing. Plus, we'll take you on a factory tour of a state-of-the-art boat builder in north central Arkansas on this edition of Arkansas's Great Outdoors. A few weeks ago, we gave you a glimpse of a new segment idea we plan to debut on the show. Now, we recently took that idea a little bit further and brought along the outdoors editor for the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, Brian Hendrix. Now, we had such a good time with the concept, he wrote about it in the Sunday edition of the newspaper, and now we can tell you even more about how homebound or office-bound anglers can experience some tournament bass fishing. Everybody, welcome to this online big bass battle. I've got Brian Hendrix, the outdoors editor for the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Now, Brian and I have known each other for a long time. When we were little boys growing up in North Little Rock and Sherwood. And I'm excited to have you here. We're gonna have some fun because we are gonna be the anglers, and we have some online competitors. We have Eric and Kevin who have joined us, and they're gonna take 15 minutes each to tell us what to throw. And whoever catches the biggest bass on their 15 minutes is the winner today. And Kevin, you are gonna be our first guy. Kevin, what do you want us to throw? And we're gonna both be throwing for you, and then Eric will be waiting in the wings to pick on his turn.
All right, well, I'll go with the buzz bait and the double whopper plopper.
You are the man.
Okay, and that'll be on Brian's side. What do you want me to throw between spinnerbait, crankbait, live bait, and brush hog?
Let's do the brush hog.
Okay. All right, we're in the target zone. Eric, start the clock. There we go.
Got him?
Yeah. Fish on.
Fish on.
Oh.
Look at that.
Okay, here we go. All right.
That's my first Arkansas bass.
Your first Arkansas bass. Woo pig suey, baby. 1.12 pounds, 1.12.
The top water should have gotten some attention by now, and it hasn't. We're getting a little bit concerned.
Let's switch off from the whopper plopper.
What do you want to go to?
Do you have any kind of finesse bait, like swim bait or spinner bait?
Got that.
Let's do spinner bait.
Fish on. Looks like another about 1 pounder.
That's not even as big as the last one.
Not as big as the last one. All righty, here we go. Okay, so last time you saw this segment, it was a test. We were trying to work through some things to make sure the technology would work with us, but we love the idea of you at home being able to tell us what to throw, and we can catch bass for you when you can't go out and catch them yourselves.
Right.
So this will be a lot of fun.
And if it works, but we're catching some small ones, but the big ones are here.
Yeah, yep. So we're gonna get back out on the clock. I believe we've got about 5.5 minutes into our first 15-minute segment. Let's see how we do. So this is interesting on Arkansas's Great Outdoors. We have an Arkansan who is from Rogers, and we have an Idahoan from, are you in the Boise area?
Yeah.
Okay, so getting your first experience of some Arkansas fishing. Hopefully this is worth your while. You didn't even have to buy a license.
And my wife says I don't work hard.
You show her.
Yeah.
You entered a fishing competition. And...
Yeah, I had a lot of appointments this morning.
Well, back in 1996, I did an article for Bassmaster about the Red River when it was just first coming on as a premier bass fishery. It was still kind of undiscovered at that time, and I went and fished with a local guy down there named Robert Anderson, and it was the most phenomenal thing that I'd ever seen. And there's been a lot of national tournaments held on there since then, but not nearly like it used to be. But there was a guy down there named Gene Ireland that made this lure, and what it is a soft plastic with a worm body, and it's got a little bluegill molded into it.
3, 2, 1.
Okay. All right, Kevin, you are on the board.
That's good.
1.12. We have a couple of choices there, Eric, as we start round 2. We can go on the other end of this 55-acre lake. There's a kind of where the wind has been blowing down. We can start at that corner and drift down, or we have a little cove that's right over behind us back here. So you can pick the area, and then we'll pick the lure. Where do you want to go?
Yeah, let's head over to that cove.
Okay.
And Carlton, let's go with live bait.
Live bait. Okay.
And then Brian, I want to try that soft plastic Red River.
There he is!
Oh,
there he is!
Fish on! Fish on!
The island fish eye is bigger than Carlton's.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, baby.
Need a net?
I don't think so.
Okay.
That's a good fish, though.
Okay. Here, just in case.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh! Woohoo! Hold that to the camera.
This whole thing is
Fish
rigged.
eye. The island fish eye strikes again. Look at that. Hey.
Way to go.
Okay. All right.
1 point. Oh, look at that. 2.29.
2.29. Well, technically that's a walk-off home run right there. 229 is the winner. Eric, you are now a 2-time champion on our online Big Bass Battle. Your man right here carried you over the top.
Way to go, Brian. Nice job.
Thank you, sir. Nice job for you. You're the one that made the call.
Congratulations to Eric for his big win, and stay tuned because we will be adding some features to this segment, and pay attention to our social media. You'll have a chance to compete and join us for a future edition of our online Big Bass Battle.
When hiking on the trails, safety is always number one. If you happen to be hiking a trail that you're not familiar with, or maybe has multiple trails on it, go ahead and take a picture of the map. Another great safety tip is leave a map in your glove box with the trail that you're taking highlighted. This way, whoever comes to find you will have a great starting point. Now, don't let your guard down just because it's a 1 to 2 mile day hike. In fact, most people get in trouble when it is just a day hike. Think about it, right? When you're doing a long hike, you're more prepared, you have more supplies, but when it's an easy day hike, you probably take less water, less layers of clothes, and this is where you can get in trouble. Just a simple wrong turn can lead a 1 to 2 mile hike into a 15, 16 mile hike. So always be prepared. There's essentials that you should have in your backpack all the time to do safety, shelter, food, and water.
Thank you, Mallory. Now, when we come back, we will head to Hendrix College in Conway, where they are celebrating the artistry of Arkansas fish. Arkansas's Great Outdoors is brought to you by Bad Boy Mowers, by Visit Hot Springs, America's first resort, by the Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas, by Vexus Boats, and by Certified Arkansas Baitfish, the safe bait. We have featured some great outdoors Arkansas artists like Dwayne Hayda and Danny Harris. Both of them and many more are on display in Conway at the Hendrix College Wingate Museum of Art.
So this is a celebration of the natural state, specifically fishing and the fishing industry, and what we have to offer here in Arkansas. This is 8 to 10 artists from across the state, as well as just over the border in Missouri. Not easy. Number one, finding artwork that is related to a very, very specific subject, that of fishing in Arkansas. So one of our seniors, Oliver Nauman, chose to tie flies as a part of his Odyssey project here at Hendrix. Odyssey is an engaged learning process that has to include artistic creativity, global awareness, and professional and leadership development. So for the artistic side of things, Oliver decided to figure out how to tie flies. And those are on display and are really one of the very first inspirations for putting this art exhibit together. Arkansas is a world-class destination for fishing, and we've got 2 different companies represented here that are based right in the natural state. Pradco Outdoor Brands makes some of the bobbers and lures, soft plastics, hard plastics, and Vexus is also based in Flippin, and they make a top-of-the-line, fabulous bass boat. Their factory was an amazing place to tour, seeing the fiberglass hulls, the aluminum hulls being put together. So one of the artists that I found for this exhibition is Danny Harris. Danny is one of the official photographers for our State House, but he is also an award-winning wood carver. We have 5 of his fish carvings here on display. This rainbow trout made entirely of wood. Even every scale on the side of the fish is hand burned, a wood burning tool to create all of the detail in there. So one of our featured artists is Dwayne Hayda. Dwayne is based out of Mountain Home, Arkansas. He has an art gallery up there. An amazing fishing guide, but also amazing artist, portraying fishermen on some of our waterways here in Arkansas. Dwayne is so talented. His talent has been recognized by the Postal Service with a cancellation stamp that he drew. Even the 2005 Arkansas license plate. This is the original colored pencil of a rainbow trout that made it onto the Arkansas Natural State license plate.
You can see all of these displays for yourself in Conway at the Hendrix College Wingate Museum of Art on campus. Now, the art exhibit runs through May 17th, and the museum is open Tuesdays through Saturdays from noon to 5 p.m. We want to make sure you are following Arkansas's Great Outdoors on our social media pages. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search Arkansas's Great Outdoors, and you can bring the best of the outdoors with some really positive social media to uplift your day with beautiful scenery and outdoors tips to get you by until you can get outside.
Hi, my name is Skeet Lewis. I am an educator with the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. One of the greatest things about living in Arkansas is the incredible biodiversity that we have. And as the weather continues to get warmer, we're going to be seeing more and more animal activity in our neighborhoods and when we go out into the woods. It's important to remember that all these animals can either see or hear or smell better than us. And the first thing they're going to do when they see or hear or smell something that doesn't belong is they're going to run and hide. So when we do see these animals, that's something that we need to enjoy that moment. But it's very important that we remember to enjoy it from a distance and with our eyes only. We don't want to touch these animals. Things like that can really scare them. And when they're scared, there's no telling how they're going to act. They're called wild for a reason.
Arkansas's Great Outdoors is brought to you by Bad Boy Mowers, by Visit Hot Springs, America's first resort, by the Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas, by Vexus Boats, and by Certified Arkansas Baitfish, the safe bait. A lot of great boats come out of Arkansas. We have plenty of great manufacturers, but a few years ago, one of them took the opportunity of a lifetime. They took 3 generations of boat building experience and started from scratch with a brand new company. The opportunity to start over with decades of institutional knowledge is rare in the business world, but that's what happened when Forrest Wood, Randy Hopper, and Keith Daffron started Vexus Boats in Flippin. So we got some game-changing technology right here with regards to the fiberglass.
We do. In the 40s, when polyester resin was invented, up until recently, the game hadn't changed much. It's all open molding, and by open molding, I mean that you can either chop, roll, brush resin over your fiberglass and then expel the resin of the air by hand. And there's a couple of ways to do that, but it's all done that way. So we have developed a process we call infused composite construction. Everything we build here, every part we build, from the very tiniest part to the largest hull, is built under a vacuum. And by doing that, we cut our VOC emissions exponentially.
Wow.
It's the way to build boats in the future. We're convinced of it. It builds a better product. It builds a more consistent product. When we designed the hull, we built it on a computer, and the program allows us to flatten that shape. We take that shape and then we cut the fiberglass like you would sew up a shirt. We have CNC machine, and we cut that up into pieces, and then we lay it in every time the same way. So what we've got is a boat that's almost identical to the one before it. And that's important in boat building, because in the open molding, I don't care how good you are, there's going to be variation. And we've done some really good stuff in the past. And so we can infuse this, and what that means is we're putting everything, the exact material that we want, where we want it, and then we'll put it under a bag, pull it down to full vacuum, test for leaks, and then we'll inject the resin, or actually it pulls it in because it's under vacuum. And so that it'll start from wherever we say it needs to start, but in a hull it starts at the low point and starts going up the side. In less than 1 hour, that hull will be completely saturated, it will be built, and it will be done in a manner that is, the laminate is so superior to anything else we've ever done. It's amazing. Here's a cutout of the bottom of the hull under the gas tank. That's almost 1 inch thick.
Wow.
That is a PVC material that we're using, and you can see the little holes where we cut through that. We actually have little tiny holes in that material, so the resin will pass from one side to the other, so it completely saturates. And you see that, and that's a big chunk of hull, but feel how light it is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that's what we can do. What we do with infusion is, when you're doing that open molding process, on a real good day, you're at 65% resin, 35% glass. On every day, when we lay this Pitch 615 material in the boat under infusion, we're 65% glass, 35% resin. So it lightens the boat 11 to 15% lighter, and it's stronger. It's the reason that aerospace has been using this process for a long time, because the margin of error is greatly decreased. And we're learning, I think we're doing every part every day with this process and learning every day. We embracing a continuous improvement process. So, whatever we did today, that's all fine, but we're working on tomorrow.
And the precision is valuable for you, because you can stand behind your product with the quality control, knowing exactly what you've got every time.
It is, and we use a vinyl ester resin, which is 2.5 times more expensive than the typical DCPD type resin that's used in this industry. But we put it down. You can't see it in the hull. When you go in the showroom, you're not going to know that, so it's up to us to tell people. But that makes a big difference for blister resistance, longevity, all the things that you expect and want in your boat. That adds to it. Or vinyl ester is a superior product. And the infusion allows us to do that in a way that's very, very consistent.
The technology and artistry combine for a wonderful on-the-water experience. It's what we catch all of our fish on this show with an Arkansas-made Vexus. Now, when Arkansas's Great Outdoors returns, we head to Northeast Arkansas and talk about fish hatcheries and how they help us catch the fish and also help a $400 million homegrown industry. Arkansas's Great Outdoors is brought to you by Bad Boy Mowers, by Visit Hot Springs, America's first resort, by the Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas, by Vexus Boats, and by Certified Arkansas Baitfish, the safe bait. If you've watched more than a few of our more than 50 episodes of Arkansas's Great Outdoors, you've heard about an industry fairly unique to Arkansas. Nearly all of the farm-raised baitfish in the country come out of 3 counties in Arkansas. Most of these farms are multi-generation operations that all started just after World War II. The descendants of those baitfish pioneers keep the industry strong with modern innovation combined with good old-fashioned hard work. Let's head to Greene County and visit Pillow Fish Farms. All right, we got Chris Harden here, who's the shed manager here at Pillow Fish Farms in Paragould, Arkansas. And we are overlooking one of many ponds. We got, how many acres here total?
Roughly 1,600.
Okay. And so divided up, what's an average size?
Average size growing pond is, we call it 10 acres, but it's really about 8 acres of water, a couple acres of levee, and then our holding ponds, little 1/4 acre ponds.
A lot of folks don't realize that from an Arkansas economic development standpoint, there are a lot more employees per acre on a fish farm than on rice farms or row crop farms.
Yes, it takes a lot of hands. It's mostly, for the most part, 80% manual work. It's loading buckets. It's, you need help. As far as machines go, it's not how it works. It just works better if you have labor hands that can get things done. So.
All right, Chris, we're here in the hatchery. This is where this all begins.
Yes, sir. This is our mats, spawning mats is what we call them. We take these out to the pond and we'll set, it's basically like our fake grass. We'll drain the pond down a little bit so they can't lay their eggs in the grass, and we catch them all. So this is basically our makeshift grass. The shiners, the goldfish, they'll get up on here and lay their eggs. We'll usually leave them about 12 hours, overnight, and then we'll go get them depending on what they look like if they're ready. So we'll load them up, bring them to the shed, and we'll wash them out because they get a little muddy. The shiners coming up, water, mud. And then once we get them washed, we put them here in these tubs, and then we'll treat them with formaldehyde for 3 days to keep them fungus free. And then 7 days later, we'll haul them back.
How many eggs are going to come through on a spawning season?
Oh man, the egg count is we do it by, like, I guess head count would be like 150 million.
Wow.
Head of that'd be on shiners. Now goldfish is a little different, but like 150 million head of shiners we need to hatch off.
What's fascinating to me about this whole process is how there's no textbook when this all started.
Right.
When the Pillows started this, you just kind of figured things out and you learned by trying.
Yes.
And but to get to the point where now we say we got to have 150 million head of shiners to be able to make this go, and then all of the processes along the way to get the bait to the bait shop all over the country. It's a lot of innovation.
It's a lot of just trial and error, and I missed out on that part. I kind of got the easier route. They've already tried this, didn't work, try this, didn't work. And that kind of started with Jim and his dad and their family. And they took a few pointers from Coldstream, but as far as, getting your farm the way you need it, that's all trial and error.
Yeah.
So we've got a little easier being the next generation that they've already trialed and errored enough that maybe we can skip some of that.
Good. Yeah, well, it's a great story of American entrepreneurship to be able to just make things happen.
Yes, just getting after it, and got to make a living. So.
And we've got a little segment on the show called First Fish, where we get people catching their first ever fish on camera, and they're using these minnows, and the joy that we have been able to see when you get that magic tug on the line and the mystery of what's on the other end. But then the photos of those kids and adults that have caught their first ever fish on one of your minnows, that's, it stays with you.
Yeah, like I say, it's a small industry, but we're proud of what we do.
90% of all the farm-raised bait that you see all over the country comes out of 3 counties in Arkansas. And it's guys like this that are making the magic happen. Thank you very much.
Thank y'all, appreciate it. Go fishing.
Yes, amen. When you meet Jim Pillow, you know you're talking to one of the good guys. He loves what he does, and he loves helping people like you and I catch more fish. We hope you have enjoyed today's show. We covered a lot, starting with a new segment on our show and soon to be online. The online Big Bass Battle gives viewers a chance to fish competitively from your home or office during a lunch break, of course. We got artsy in Conway, looking at the art of our good friends Dwayne Hayda and Danny Harris and many others who celebrate the outdoors with inspiring works we can look at while we're indoors. And if you want to see the exhibit, get over to Hendrix College. It will be on display through May 17th, Tuesdays through Saturdays, noon to 5 p.m. Vexus Boats is not only a great boat story and a great business story, it's also a great environmental story, as we learned from President Randy Hopper as he took us on a tour of the boat building facility in Flippin. And we always enjoy visiting with the good folks at Pillow Fish Farms in Paragould. They make the bait that makes fishing great every day. We thank you for watching. It really means a lot to have the honor of being in your homes each week on our network of television stations. And we thank our stations for bringing this program to you. And we thank our sponsors for making this show possible. And most of all, we thank you for watching. We'll see you next week somewhere in Arkansas's great outdoors.